Welcome to the Fate of Ukraine channel. Kremlin has officially gone mad. Putin's favorite region hit. The models of the drones that attacked Crimea could not be detected by the Russian authorities. However, the Russian Navy in the region announced that it had shot down 2 UAVs. Local sources stated that Ukraine successfully attacked military bases. The Russian press said that its army failed again. After the explosions in Crimea, which Putin guarded, the Kremlin held a big meeting. The troops on the southern front of the Ukrainian army accelerated their advance towards Crimea. The Russian army could not stop the Ukrainian offensive on the southern front. Putin is so fussy. Russian soldiers gave a red alert in the region. UAVs that made a reconnaissance on the coast of Crimea made a big attack after the reconnaissance. Russian air defense systems have been activated in the region. But it was too late. After the attack, there was great chaos in the region. UAVs, which had been reconnaissance for a long time in a region close to the Crimean coast, attacked all military bases they detected. Russian air defense systems were late to intervene against UAVs. Russian experts feared that an attack on Sevastopol could also be carried out using unmanned sea vehicles. However, it is also certain that there is no attack from the sea at this time, because local sources state that the attack was carried out from the air. It turned out that the attack is now in the Armyansk region. A violent explosion occurred in the Armyansk region. There are also claims that the explosion came from a Russian military base. Another explosion occurred shortly after the explosion. The second explosion was larger than the first explosion. Russian authorities and local sources could not determine where the second explosion occurred. So far, there has been no official statement from the Crimean authorities on this issue. However, the Armyansk region is within the range of the HIMARS missile systems owned by the Ukrainian army. Russian military experts are conducting advanced research to find the main source of the attack. Experts state that the Kremlin may launch a very violent attack as the Ukrainian army uses HIMARS system to strike Crimea. However, according to local sources, the Ukrainian army states that it carried out the attack using a drone. There was also information from the local people that the explosion was very strong and was heard from about 20 kilometers away. Although some sources report that the explosion occurred in water, Russian experts state that the actual explosion occurred on the ground. Kremlin failed to launch a counterattack after the recent attacks on Crimea. After the Russian army was incapacitated, some information began to emerge that new lessons were given to Russian soldiers. A new lesson is taught to Russian soldiers how to sabotage their own equipment to profit from war without risking their lives. The Russian news source stated that more than 4,000 Russian soldiers were enrolled in the training camps. The Russian source states that on the training platform known as the School of Fire, Russian soldiers were given lessons to break equipment and sabotage the equipment. The fire school advertisements appearing on many communication platforms of Russia are especially aimed at Russian soldiers and Wagner Group mercenaries. This is how the fire school gives private lessons to the Russian soldiers who will go to the Ukrainian front. Russians take private lessons to destroy their own gear. After the emergence of this issue, military analysts also made some comments on the subject. Military analysts drew attention to how the Russian army's equipment was destroyed instead of using it. Some military experts, on the other hand, stated that Russia's fire school cadets should undergo such training in order to earn good money in the background. The recent news that the Russian soldiers were inexperienced and untrained caused the Kremlin to take precautions. After almost a year, the Kremlin realized that it had to teach its soldiers a lesson. Russian news sources also stated that a new Telegram channel was open to share military information. Noting that the success in the Russian army will increase as a result of the lessons, the news source also stated that all Russian soldiers should sign up for the Telegram channel. The Russian Telegram channel has also started posting videos that offer instructions on how the gearbox of Russian T-72 tanks can break down. Putin, who forbade telephone calls to the soldiers at the front, has now started to give lectures over the phone to the new soldiers who will be sent to the new front. Western military experts stated that the Russian army will not be able to understand anything from these lessons. The problems plaguing the Russian military have long been documented by Western analysts. In March 2022, information also began to emerge that demoralized Russian soldiers were already sabotaging their own equipment after the outbreak of large-scale warfare. UK intelligence also said that the Russian troops refused to follow the orders of their commanders. On the other hand, the information revealed on the Eastern Front is quite surprising. There was a first in the Volodar region of Donetsk Oblast, a frontline region where fierce fighting has taken place in eastern Ukraine in recent days. A Russian drone was spotted en route to Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian UAV attacked to shoot down a Russian drone. The Russian drone operator could not escape even if he maneuvered to escape from the Ukrainian UAV. The Russian drone, which broke into pieces, crashed. The Ukrainian drone continued its mission. Ukrainian drone operators gained a lot of experience during the war. That's why they use their drones pretty well and can even attack other drones if needed. Kyiv hastened its preparations for the Great Russian Offensive. Secret Israeli equipment is preparing to go to Ukraine. A Ukrainian official stated that they gave Israel a list of our military needs. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba reported that the Israeli government has been given a list of Ukraine's military needs. At the joint press conference with Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Kuleba stated that he and his counterpart discussed other issues that Israel can support Ukraine in addition to humanitarian support. The list of our military needs is clear. The list has been given to the previous Israeli government and the current government, said Kuleba, adding that the protection of the Ukrainian airspace is in question and they are waiting for the relevant decision to be taken. Some claims that the Iron Dome system can be given to Ukraine are also on the agenda. Pointing out that they discussed the peace formula proposed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during the meeting, Kuleba stated that they met with several countries to participate in the implementation of the said formula. Israeli Foreign Minister Cohen also stated that they will support Ukraine's peace formula at the United Nations next week. Cohen expressed that they are on the side of Ukraine. Cohen added that they will work at all levels and on all international platforms to ensure security in the region. The chief of the General Staff of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, made a statement about the latest attacks of Russia. Ukrainian Chief of Staff Valery Zaluzhny announced that 16 of the 36 missiles launched by the Russian army this morning were destroyed. Zaluzhny stated that Russian forces launched missile attacks again in the early hours of the morning. Noting that the Russian army launched a total of 36 missiles from the air and from the sea, Zaluzhny said that 16 of them were destroyed by the Ukrainian Air Defense Forces. Air raid alarms continue to sound in various parts of Ukraine. All air defense missiles of Ukraine were activated. It is alleged that recently, due to the inadequacy of the Russian army in the region, Putin made a new offer to Belarus, an ally. After this incident, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said that they can only fight together with the Russians if there is an attack on Belarus. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko held a press conference with foreign journalists in the capital Minsk. Speaking about the possibility of Belarus joining the war with Russia, Lukashenko said, "We are ready to fight together with the Russians only in one case. Only if an attack is made on our lands." Expressing that they will respond in the harshest way in case of an attack on his country, Lukashenko said, "The war takes on a completely different nature." Belarus, where Russian troops are located, had allowed Russia to use its territory for attacks against Ukraine. Lukashenko stated in his previous statements that he would not send his troops to Ukraine. Joint military exercises regularly carried out by Russia and Belarus increased the concerns that Belarus would join the war in Ukraine. According to the last-minute information, the authorities of the Paris state hastily summoned the Ukrainian leader, whom they did not send an official invitation to the country. It was alleged that French President Emmanuel Macron invited Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky to Paris at the last moment. Speaking to Politico, one of the leading U.S. newspapers, the senior French official, who did not reveal his identity, said that Zelensky did not receive an official invitation from the Paris government during his visit to Western countries last week to request support in the war. The official suggested that Macron's advisors were impressed by Zelensky's speech in the UK Parliament, after which the president sent a last-minute invitation to the Ukrainian leader. Zelensky went to Paris on the night of February 8 and met with Macron at the Élysée Palace. In fact, the Ukrainian leader was scheduled to go to Brussels on this date, the next day, to attend a meeting with the leaders of the European Union. Zelensky had met Macron at the last moment after receiving the invitation. The official claimed that Macron was actually planning to watch a theater play with his wife, Brigitte Macron, on the night of February 8. On the other hand, Macron's attitude towards Russia during the war drew criticism from Ukraine and Western countries. We have come to the end of another video. You can like the video to support us. By subscribing, you can easily follow new videos. See you.